Hello, this is Spartan Commander, and this is the 385th Rome Total War Brotherhood game that I've put onto YouTube. And just to say, this battle was only fought last night, Friday night, so kind of the ink isn't even dry on the page yet, if you see what I mean. And we fought on this map a lot of times. This is one of our popular custom maps. You can see you've got the big open plains if you want to fight out in the open. And of course, you've got the woods here on this map as well, so you can bring barbarian troops for the woods bonus, or you can hide your units and spring those nasty ambushes. Let's say a very popular custom map this one is. Okay, our first teammate is Brotherhood member Vidar. Now Vidar's got 14 infantry and 6 cavalry. Okay, 14 infantry, 6 cavalry. And if you notice here, he's gone a little bit old school here, and he's made his general an eagle unit. Okay, you don't see that very often these days, but a lot of people used to do it back in the day, so a little bit old school there. But 14 infantry and 6 cavalry, and if you notice there, he has got 2 eagle units, his general, as we just looked at, and another eagle unit there. So he's got a lot of morale boosting units there for his army. Our next teammate is GoTW Romex, who's bought the Pontus faction. Now Romex has got 14 pikes and 6 chariots. Okay, if you have a look at the upgrades on his pikes, you'll see that some of his pikes are just gold shield, gold attack. Now remember, Pontus morale is pretty poor, so not to have an experience stripe on your pikes, I would suggest, would be unusual. Please put your thoughts in the comments there, and you'll see other of his pike units have got an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack on. So he's kind of got mixed upgrades through his pikes. I think he may even have some pikes with 8 upgrades on, if I remember correctly. There you are. You can see he's got some pikes with 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack there. So this will be a tried and tested Pontus army of Romexes. And then of course you've got the chariots. Of course, we've talked a lot about chariots in the past with their hit points, their big attacking specifications, the fear factor they bring to the battlefield. But of course, like we always say, if they run amok, they kill both friend and foe alike. So really think before you bring chariots, I always suggest. Our next teammate is Brotherhood member Fesen. Now Fesen's got 16 Sacred Band Spearmen and 2 missile militia, town militia units there. Okay, if you notice here, you'll see that his Sacred Band have all got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So we know that the Sacred Band spearmen are elite, tough units anyway, but if you put 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack on them, that makes them even more serious. And there you are, you've got the town militia there, which I'm presuming he would use as pilot shield units there, just to attract enemy missiles. So that would be a tried and tested Fesen army. Remember, that's his faction of choice. And just to say, we're going to have a look at my Germania army a little bit more in depth later on. I think possibly this is the first time I've ever put a Germania army with me commanding it on one of our battles there. So we've got a diverse army. We've got Rome, we've got Pontus, we've got Carthage, and of course we've got Germania with myself. Got the potential to be a cracking battle, and I hope you enjoy it. And here is the other team. We have Brotherhood member Spitfyr. Now Spitfyr's got 18 pikes and 2 cavalry. Yes, 18 pikes and 2 cavalry. Have a look at the upgrades on his units. You'll see his forward unit here has just got 1 upgrade on. Okay, that's going to be his pilot shield unit. And then the unit right behind that, the units right behind that have only got gold shield, gold attack on there. Okay, and if you go further back into his battle formation, you'll see once again another line of pikes with just gold shield, gold attack on. But if you go a little bit further back, I think if I remember correctly, he may well have 8 upgrades. There you are. He's got, some of his units have got 7 upgrades on, and some have got 8 upgrades on. Now remember that Macedon morale is not very good, so the 2 experience stripes, or the 1 or the 2 veteran or experience stripes you put on your pikes is very, very important to keep them fighting. As I say, their morale is not very good, so putting experience stripe on the pikes is quite important, I believe. But put your thoughts down in the comments. Be interested to see what you think about that. Okay, their next teammate is Brotherhood member Mantu. Now Mantu's got 13 infantry, 6 cavalry, and wait for this, an incendiary pig unit. Okay, so if you look at a Mantu's army here, you'll see that he's got 3 eagle units within his army. Can you think why he would have 3 eagle units in his army? This is unusual for him, but so he's actually made this army specifically for this battle. Can you think why he's got those 3 morale boosting units for his army? Have a think why you think that that he would have those units. Well, they're okay. Now the reason he's bought them, in my opinion, is because he's trying to neutralize the fear factor of the chariots and the berserkers. Remember what causes mass routs of Roman armies regarding berserkers and chariots is the fear factor that they bring, and by bringing those 3 morale boosting units, he is trying to neutralize the fear factor that the berserkers and the chariots bring. So that's a nice tactical move there by Mantu to do that, and I thought you might find that interesting to see why he's actually done that, bringing those 3 eagle units there, as I say, to try and neutralize the effect of chariots and berserkers. Their next teammate is Brotherhood member Lando. Now Lando has got, get ready for this, 17 infantry and 3 cavalry. 17 infantry and 3 cavalry. Quick look at the upgrades on his cavalry. You'll see he's got 7 upgrades, an experience stripe, gold shield, gold attack there. But with 17 infantry unit, imagine the firepower that he could put down onto, say, our Pontus ally there, or our Carthage ally, you know, as well. That's a heck of a lot of firepower to bring to the battlefield there. And their last teammate is a Brotherhood member Tabor with a very unusual Roman army. Okay, I would suggest this would be very, very unusual. He's got 6 cavalry and 10 infantry. Okay, now that might not seem unusual in itself, 10 infantry, 6 cavalry, but his 6 cavalry are 6 armored cavalry generals with no upgrades. Okay, so he's got 6 armored cavalry general units with no upgrades, but look at the upgrades on his infantry. I believe, if I remember correctly, most of his infantry is fully upgraded. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack, and the other infantry units that are not fully upgraded have got 8 upgrades on, 2 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So he spent obviously the vast majority of his money on upgrading his infantry, and there you are, there's his cavalry there, look, there's his armored cavalry there units there. I think he's got 1 upgrade, there you are, 1 upgrade in 6 cavalry units there. Okay, general armored cavalry units. So as I say, he spent most of his money on massive upgrades on his infantry. But imagine the firepower. Once again, you can see the firepower of the Roman armies that are facing us here. Before we even get into hand-to-hand fighting, the damage that they could do to our factions, just with the sheer firepower they're bringing to the battlefield, could be devastating to our armies before we even get into hand-to-hand fighting. It'll be interesting to see how they use this firepower during the course of the battle. Okay, at this stage of the battle, I'm going to take you back to about 2007 when I first bought this, I think it's around about 2007, I first bought this Germanic army to the battlefield. Okay, now look how old school and old fashioned the battle formation is. Okay, if I look a little bit closer, you'll see how I made the battle formation up. So if you like, the outer layer of the battle formation are the effective against armor chosen axemen. I think I've got, if I remember, about 11 of them. So there's 11 effective against armor chosen axemen. Then I've got 3 Night Raiders. Now the Night Raiders are quite good infantry, but the reason I've bought them is for the fear factor that they bring to the battlefield, taking morale away from enemy troops. Okay, so that's why I've got those 3 Night Raiders there, to help with taking the morale away from enemy troops, making them more susceptible to routing. And then I've got the Berserkers there, the 3 Berserkers with their effective against armor maces, their 2 hit points, and the massive fear factor they bring to the battlefield, as we know, taking morale away from enemy troops, destabilizing them, and as I said, of course, making them more susceptible to routing. Okay, so with the Night Raiders and the Berserker fear factors there, that can make a real difference. And then of course I've got the Screeching Women. Okay, now the Screeching Women are morale boosting units. Okay, so that's why you bring them. And I've got my armored cavalry general there. Okay, so that's the only cavalry unit I've got in this old school, old-fashioned army. So there you are. I've taken you in a time warp back to 2007. We've grabbed an army from 2007 and brought it to 2025. Will this army perform still well on the battlefield? Well, we just have to wait and see as the battle unfolds. Okay, at this very, very early stage of the battle, you'll see that our team are all trying to form up here in this woods area. Okay, of course, I'm in the woods area there for the woods bonus. If you'd like to see some Carthage ghost units, you might find this quite interesting. You can see the general there, the Carthage general, but you can't see any other unit. But if you put the mouse arrow over the woods, look, you can see the Carthage ghost units there. You can't see them, but the mouse arrow shows you that they are there hiding from the enemy troops there. I just thought you might find that interesting there, seeing the ghost units. And as I say, I've taken my Germanic troops into the woods there, and this is where I would like to fight, in the woods, obviously to get the woods bonus for my barbarian troops. So that's where that's why I've taken them into the woods. And if I have a close look at them there, you'll see when units are hiding in the woods, you'll see they're kind of crouched down there. And that's, you know, you can just see them hiding. Remember that in RTW, the general can't hide. So even though all your units are hiding, if you've got the general in that battle formation, the enemy can kind of guess where your battle formation is, even if the vast majority of your troops are hiding. There you can see that some of the Pontus pikes are already hiding in the woods. You'll see Vidar is making his way up to us as well. So make no mistake, just to give you a heads up, this wooded area is where we're looking to kind of start the battle. And you'll see Romex moving his pikes forward. During the course of this battle, you will see a really fantastic Pontus pike wall protecting the rest of his teammates. And let's say Pontus, very underestimated faction, I think, but used properly they can be quite powerful. But I'm just looking at all those Roman units opposite us and thinking of the firepower that they're going to bring to the battlefield here, and the casualties they could cause us before we even get into hand-to-hand fighting. Okay, so as I say, being in the woods, I think that that can favour the defending team there, because like we've seen in other battle videos, if the enemy try charging into the woods, the trees actually take away a lot of their momentum and charge bonus. So defending in the woods is always a good thing. And as you can see there, we are starting to form up in the woods. But also, as I said to you, the firepower that those Roman troops can bring down onto us, maybe that could make the difference in this battle, especially towards the end. Got the potential to be a cracking battle. I hope you enjoy it. Okay, so we're still in the early stages of the battle here, and you'll see the enemy troops have moved forward now towards our position that we've set up in the woods. As I say, I was hoping to fight in the woods here so that my barbarian troops would get the woods bonus. Okay, now remember, Macedon versus Pontus. Macedon specifications are higher than Pontus specifications, and just to say, there were so many pike and spear units in this battle that it's caused somebody's computer to lag. Okay, so there's a little bit of lag in this battle, unfortunately. I hope it doesn't spoil it too much for you, but RTW veterans watching this, you know that when there's the big pike units, two big pike factions there, plus Carthage there as well, it does cause a bit of lag with some people's computers. So sadly there is a bit of lag in the game, and as I say, I hope it doesn't spoil it too much for you. Okay, here you can see Lando has got a unit in Testudo that he's trying to push through one of Romex's pike units there. Okay, and as I say, before you put any upgrades on your units, the Macedonian pikemen are superior to the Pontus pikemen with better specifications there. But as I say, you can see there Vidar's moved one of his units in front of Romex as pikes there. And as I say, you can see the enemy slowly moving in. But as I say, sadly, with the bit of lag in the battle there, it does obviously slow everything down. Just like to show you here, can you see good battlefield awareness here by Spitfyr, sending one of his pike units out to chase off Romex's chariots. Remember that pike or spear units will kill chariots really quickly, and there you can see Romex backing his chariots off from Spitfyr's pike unit there. If you notice, Spitfyrs put that unit in open order to widen it out more, to cover more ground, to be able to chase those chariots away. Here you can see, strangely enough, the Pontus and Macedonian pikemen aren't actually fighting yet. They are just kind of facing each other there, with the pikes halfway down the other pikes, if you see what I mean. Now here can you see that Spitfyr has put a line of pikemen, okay, within his allies' units there. Can you see that line of Macedonian pikes that Spitfyr has put in with his allies? Now can you think why he's done that? Can you think why Spitfyr, with good battlefield awareness, has put that line of pikes within his allies? Okay, I know RTW veterans know this straight away, and that is to try and neutralize my barbarian troops. Okay, remember that pikes and spears kill barbarian troops, including berserkers, knight raiders, and chosen axemen. Pikes and spears will kill them quickly, and by putting that line of Macedonian pikes within his allies' armies there, he is looking to neutralize the attack specifications of my Germanic troops. Okay, so he's hoping, as I say, to neutralize the attack that my troops can bring to the battlefield. Okay, so as I say, a good teamwork and good battlefield awareness there by Brotherhood member Spitfyr, helping his allies out there with those Germanic neutralizing pike units there, if you like. Okay, and you can see a lot of enemy cavalry in the background there. And here you can see, I think it's Mantu moving his SBQ or army forward. And remember that those Roman troops of the enemy have got a lot of firepower they can bring to bear onto our troops, as we spoke about earlier. And as I say, the Macedonian pikemen there, before any upgrades are put on at all, have got better specifications than the Pontus pikemen. As I say, it's very strange, isn't it, to see the two opposing pike armies there, with their pikes kind of halfway down the other person's pikes, if you see what I mean, and not actually fighting. Very, very unusual, I would suggest there. Okay, so just pause the game for a minute there. You can see that Romex has put his chariots out behind the enemy troops. Okay, remember, chariots are fast moving, so even though they're a long way away from the battle, they can be brought in quite quickly. Another nice move here by Spitfyr, good battlefield awareness. He spotted those chariots and taken a pike unit out there to cover them there. Very good move there by him. And he's got Romex has got chariots on the other flank as well, ready to bring them in when he thinks the time is right. Okay, but as I say, at the moment there's just a little bit of skirmishing going on at this time, just kind of warming up for the main event, which is going to happen pretty soon. But as I say here, as I said a few times in this battle, sadly there is a little bit of lag. As I say, I hope that doesn't spoil it too much for you. But also, as you can see, the Romans there, with the fantastic firepower they've got, could really cause us a lot of damage before we even get into hand-to-hand fighting. And this is a good example, if I remember correctly. Can you see Lando's brought 4 of his Roman units around Romex's flank there? Now Romex has spotted that, and what I'm thinking here, I wonder if Fesen, as I say, the vast majority of his army is hidden, could bring some of his Carthage units out here, maybe even there, look, to threaten the flank of Lando. But as I say, the firepower of the Romans here could be, potentially pivotal in this battle, because this is just a good example. Look at these pilers that Lando's throwing in to one of Romex's pike units there, which will absolutely decimate that pike unit. Remember, 121-man pike units are very susceptible to missile fire. And then Lando charges in, look, throws his pilers in, weakens that Pontus pike unit, and then charges in. Great tactic by Lando there. But you can see here that both Romex and Fesen have spotted the danger there and are rushing reinforcements over to that flank. But that was a good example of the pile of damage that all those Roman troops can do to our troops there. And as I say, nice move there by Fesen and Romex to cover there. And as I say, did you notice here how Romex has double banked his pikemen? Now this is a very, very strong defense here that he set up with all his years of experience there at being a really good pike general. You can see double banking your pikes makes it very, very difficult for enemy troops to break through. And as I say, you can see Romex has double banked his troops. But here on our flank, it wouldn't surprise me if Lando backed his SPQR infantry off. Now he can see Fesen has brought his spearmen over to threaten Lando's own flank there. There you are. You can see Lando moving his SPQR troops back under the threat of Fesen's Sacred Band spearmen there. So that was a nice bit of support there by Fesen, bringing his spearmen over there on that left flank of ours. But as I say, if you look at how Romex has set up his defensive line, double banking those pikes, very, very strong defensive formation there. And you've got Vidar right behind him as well. So as you can see, we've kind of gone defensive at this stage of the battle. Let's say Fesen here has got his Roman troops. And what I was thinking was, if Fesen attacked, sorry, not Fesen, Vidar attacked there with his troops, I could follow him in with my Germanic troops. That was something that was going through my mind, but the situation changed a little bit during the course of the battle, so that didn't happen. But that was one option we could have looked at there. And here you can see Vidar's Scipii units there moving in on the enemy SPQR troops. They were at 2 units in Testudo actually fighting each other. Quite rare thing to see there. But if you notice, by Vidar putting out some of his units in front of Romex's pikes, he's kind of relieving those pikes a little bit from being attacked by the enemy Roman troops. Nice bit of teamwork there by Vidar. And you can see here Lando being his usual aggressive self. Remember, he's got 17 infantry units there, and you can see that he's really aggressively attacking one of Romex's units there in that defensive battle line that Romex has set up. So, as I say, Lando, we always know, is going to be aggressive and attacking. And with 17 infantry units, the amount of pilers that he's thrown in there would have caused a lot of damage to our troops. But as I say, Vidar here, he's got a good solid defensive position there. He's probably going to send some troops there. You can see good teamwork there by Vidar. He sent over a couple of his Scipii units over to our left flank. If you've noticed, just pause the game for a second here. They were good teamwork here by Vidar. Sent those 2 units over to kind of brace the battle line there. He's helping to brace Romex's battle line there with those couple of units. They can probably throw pilers into those Macedonian pikemen as well. So that's good news. I wonder whether the Macedonians are thinking about coming around our flank as they do overlap us. Oh my gosh, Lando has gone full attack here. Look how he's gone in now with all his troops, very, very aggressively attacking Romex's line there. He must have thrown all his pilers in, really weakened Romex's pike units there, and then decided to charge in. Very, very aggressive, but very typical of Lando's tactics. Always attacking, always very aggressive. Look how he's trying to push his troops down the pikes of those Pontus pikemen there. Make no mistake though, he will be losing a lot of troops on those Pontus pikes. If you notice here, I'm moving my Germanic army forward, okay? Not to attack yet, but just moving close to the 0 point, if you like, ready for the attack when we decide to go in. Now, just to give you a heads up here, what our team's trying to do, we're trying to tire out the attacking enemy troops, trying to tire them out and weaken them, give them battle casualties, and as I say, tire them out, ready for when we decide to do a counter punch and attack. Okay, so as I say, we're letting them attack us, they're kind of like bleeding themselves on Romex's pikes. And when we feel that they've bled themselves enough and are weak enough, then, as I say, we're going to counter punch with an attack here, okay? It's all about timing though, and getting that timing just right. As I say, great support here by Vidar, bracing the pikes of Romex there with his units. Okay, really bracing the battle line there, holding the line. But make no mistake, Lando's aggressive attack, it will be costing him a lot of men. Okay, and what I'm looking to do here with my Germanic army when I attack, I'm looking for a weak link in the enemy battle line. Okay, all the way through this battle, I'm looking for that weak link that I can hit with my Germanic army there. Okay, and in a second I'll show you exactly what I'm thinking. Just before we decide to attack. But remember, the team has discussed this. As I say, what we want to do is let them attack us, tire their units out, cause them battle damage, and when we think that the time is right, we are going to counter punch and we're going to strike hard. Okay, so just give you a heads up on that. But as I say, you can see now that Fesen has moved his Carthaginian army forward. Okay, he's got some units in front of my Germanic troops there. And it wouldn't surprise me if Fesen decided to take the battle to the enemy possibly here. But as I say, at the moment you can see the enemy troops being very aggressive towards us. Okay, so here you will start to see Fesen moving his Carthaginian spearmen into the enemy troops. Okay, you can see Fesen here moving his troops forward. Okay, so what I'm going to do, I'm just going to hold my army back, and I'm going to let as many of Fesen's units as possible get engaged with the enemy. Tie them down there by engaging them, and then when I think it's time, I'm going to strike with my old school, old-fashioned Germanic army and battle formation. Can an army and battle formation from 2007 still be effective? Or, with armies and battle formations have evolved over the years, is it too old-fashioned? Well, we're just going to have to see. Okay, so can you see the Macedonian pikemen that Spitfyr put there to protect his allies from my attacking Germanic troops? Okay, good teamwork by him. But what I've noticed here is, can you see that there's a gap between that Macedon pike unit and that Macedonian pike unit and their allies there? Okay, can you see there's a gap? So what I'm thinking here is, if I attack right here using war cry and everything to enhance the attacking specifications, if I can get those SBQR units to start mass routing, okay, what I'm thinking here, follow my logic if you can, then those units running through those Macedonian pike units would lower the morale of those Macedonian pike units and make them susceptible to routing. Can you see what I'm thinking there? So if I attack those SBQR troops there, hopefully I'll get them to mass rout. They'll run through the Macedonian pike units, dropping the morale of those Macedonian pike units and maybe making them more susceptible to routing. You'll see I'm moving my Germanic army over to where I think the weak spot of the enemy line is. Okay, notice I'm moving my army over there, just where I showed you where I think the weak spot of the enemy line could be. Okay, so let's just pause again for a second here. Here you'll see that Mantu, oh my gosh, he has activated the incendiary pigs. Okay, remember, incendiary pigs are there to rout enemy elephant units, and really, to be honest with you, they're well, they're not very good against any other units there, and you can see that Vidar's cavalry have just kind of smashed and crashed them there, really. So that was an unusual move there by Mantu to bring that incendiary pig, something unusual. Okay, so there you are. Can you see now that Fesen's Carthaginians are really engaging the enemy purple SBQR infantry? Okay, as I say, this is about timing and getting the target right for my attack. But all I'm doing now is waiting for Fesen's Carthaginians to get even more ingrained into those SBQR enemy troops. And then you're going to see an old school, old-fashioned, 3-stage Germanic attack. Okay, those of you that's never seen a 3-stage Germanic attack, stand by, because you're going to see it. Old-fashioned, old school. Can it still be effective? Well, we'll just have to see. But watch out for the 3-stage Germanic attack. Okay, so Fesen's spearmen have really made a lot of inroads in. It's time for me to attack, in my opinion. Okay, the 3-stage attack. The first stage is you hit war cry, okay, and you send the axemen in first. Okay, so you're effective against armor axemen are the first stage of the attack. As I say, you hit war cry to enhance their attacking specifications. They go in first, make first contact with the enemy. Then you hit war cry on your Night Raiders. Okay, now the Night Raiders bring the fear factor, okay, the extra fear factor. They're good infantry in their own right. And the third stage of the attack is the Berserkers. Okay, so first stage is the chosen axemen. Always remember to hit war cry as those axemen go in. As I say, the war cry enhances their attacking specifications. Okay, so there you are. You can see the chosen axemen going in first. They're going to make first contact with the enemy, charging straight into those SBQR troops. Okay, watch out for the Night Raiders. Right, the Night Raiders have just hit war cry on them, enhancing their attacking specifications. They're going into their stage 2. Okay, you'll notice that I'm running the Berserkers up, but I haven't activated them yet. I want the Night Raiders and Axemen to get in there first. Okay, and get ready. Watch out for the Berserkers to be activated. Watch out for the red banners, they were, and I've just activated the Berserkers as well. So you've just witnessed the 3-stage Germanic attack. Old school, old fashioned. Axemen, Night Raiders, Berserkers. Okay, notice I'm not attacking on a wide attack there. I'm looking to punch a hole. I'm trying to punch a hole through the middle of the enemy battle line with concentrated attack. Okay, we've got Carthaginian, Fesen's Carthaginian troops there. We've got Vidar's troops, and of course we've got Romex troops there. But what I'm trying to do with my troops there, as I say, is try to punch a hole through the middle of the enemy battle line there. And hopefully, with routing enemy troops, they will rout those Macedonian troops when their morale drops very low. But remember that the green Brutii troops of Tabor, a lot of them are fully upgraded, so they're going to hold for a long time. Over here you can see a bit of tussle here between the Pontus pikes, 3 Pontus pikes and Lando's cavalry. Personally, I don't like putting my cavalry up against chariots, because very often your cavalry will get chopped up. And so you can see there that it looks like even if Lando wins there, he's lost a lot of his cavalry. Okay, so here you can see my troops really pushing in. But as I say, remember those green Brutii troops that my troops are fighting. The green Brutii troops, most of them are fully upgraded. 3 experience stripes, gold shield, gold attack. So they're going to hold for a long time. And with those 3 experience stripes, that's going to give them high morale, which could neutralize my Night Raiders and Berserkers fear factor. Okay, so that's what, and I can see that those green Brutii troops are holding quite well. I think gold shield, gold attack troops might have routed by now. Here you can see Vidar now attacking with his troops, along with Fesen's Carthaginians attacking into the right flank of the enemy troops. Now over here, if I remember correctly, Vidar and Romex were holding really well against the Macedonians and SBQ of Lando there. You can see some nice move. You can see that Lando and the Macedonian general there have got round in behind Romex and Vidar's there. Nice move there. Very nice move by Spitfyr and Lando there, getting in behind Romex and, as I say, Vidar's units there. So our left flank could be in a little trouble there. But you'll notice here that Romex is also advancing with his pikemen. So what Romex has done is turn defense. Okay, he's turned defense into attack now. So we've got Fesen's Carthaginians, my Germanic troops, Vidar's troops and Romex troops all pushing forward at the same time now. And as I say, those green Brutii troops, if they were just gold shield, gold attack, I reckon there would have been a mass rout by now. But because those green troops of Tabor's, most of them are fully upgraded, the infantry, they're going to hold. Plus you've got a couple of general units there as well, giving them even more morale here. And as I say, with those 3 experience stripes on those Brutii troops, they are kind of neutralising the morale sapping factors of my berserkers and night raiders there. But as I say, you can see all our troops pushing forward now. And it looks to me like we've routed quite a few enemy troops there. And as I say, our left flank here, I think Lando and Spitfyr have done really well. But can you see that my Germania troops, as I say, those green brutio troops, if they were just gold shield, gold attack, I think they'd have mass routed by now. But because, as I say, for the massive upgrades they've got fully upgraded there, plus the general morale bonus that they're getting as well, they're holding really well against my Germanic troops. So as I say, those 3 experience strikes on Tabor's troops have neutralised the fear factor of my berserkers and night raiders there, I think. As you can see, I was expecting my Germanic troops to have, you know, penetrated those Roman troops, you know, a lot earlier. But as I say, and here, if I remember correctly, Lando has now decided to admit defeat. Okay, so you see Lando here, he's just admitted defeat. He still had some cavalry left and still has some infantry left there. But obviously he's decided that the battle's lost, and he's just admitted defeat there. You can see a heck of a lot of enemy troops routing at the rear there of the enemy battle line, and you can see our troops moving forward there. So as I say, we kind of soaked up and absorbed the enemy attack, let them kind of bleed themselves on our pikes and Vidar's infantry, and then when we were ready, we just struck, and the timing of all our troops moving forward kind of worked quite well there. Pause the game for a second here. So you can see here those Macedonian pikemen there, but you can see that my Germanic troops have forced their way into that pike unit. So now they're effective against armour axes. We'll be chopping up those Macedonian pikemen there, who can only then use their secondary weapon, their sword, once they get into kind of that close kind of fighting there. And as I say, you can see Romex moving his guys forward there. You can see that Romex there. You can see some Macedonian units charging into the back of Romex's pikes there. And there you'll see that Vidar's blue Scipii cavalry will probably chase down the enemy troops, stopping them from rallying there as well. And the Carthaginian troops there. You see my Germanic troops have charged over towards those Macedonian pikes. But I think it looks like, yeah, it looks like our team has managed to go on and win the battle there. So I can see my general, my cavalry general. If you notice, I kept my cavalry general out of the battle, but very close to my fighting troops, so that they were getting. And don't forget, my general blows the rallying bugle. Okay, so I was making sure the rallying bugle was blown all the time there, giving morale to my troops. And of course the screeching women are in there somewhere as well, so giving them morale bonus there. But let's say, I thought Romex's defensive line there was fantastic. Double bank there, backed up by Vidar. And with the enemy attacking Romex so much there, they would have lost loads of troops on his pikes. So I'm expecting Romex to get some good kills here. I always think that Roman troops attacking pikes head on is something I try and avoid, because, you know, the pikes just kill so many of your Roman troops before you can fight your way down the pikes to kill the man on the other end. But here you can see a lot of dead here. A lot of Scipii, Macedonian, SBQR dead troops. You can just see them there in between the trees. And don't forget, when my Germanic troops attacked, I was still within the woods area. Can you see there's still trees around there? So I'm hoping and guessing that my guys were still getting the woods bonus, even though they attacked out of the densest part of the woods. Look at all the dead here as well. You can see there a lot of dead troops. And as I say, if you noticed, our tactic was to kind of form up a real tough defensive formation there and just wait for the enemy to attack us, which is what they did. And when the time was right, you could see that we struck. Okay, so first thing I'd like to say is really well played to everybody in the game. I thought everybody played well. You can see it was a clear victory there. I don't usually like to show clear victories. I like to show close, really. But I just thought this was an interesting battle for you to see. Highest kills in the game goes to GoTW Romex with his Pontus army. Great kills for him there. As I said it would, with the Romans sending their troops head on against his pikes, I knew that he was going to get really good kills, because pike units will kill Romans quite easily when they're attacked head on. So well done to Tabor. Now he'll be a bit disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, but his army build was quite interesting. Lando will be a bit disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills as well. Mantu will be disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills. But well done to Spitfyr with his Macedonian army. He got over 1,000 kills, so well done to him. And really well played, guys. Very aggressive attack. My Germanic army, not too bad. I think that's the second highest kills in the game. So I'm quite pleased with the way that old-fashioned, old-school Germanic army performed. Fesen might be a bit disappointed he got less than 1,000 kills, but look how many men he's got left. I think he's lost less than 400 men in the whole battle. As I say, well done to Romex, highest kills in the game with his Pontus army. Really well done to him. And well done to Vidar. Got some great kills. And look how many troops he's got left as well. Really good support all over the battlefield there. Supporting Romex's his battle line. Right, faction advantage. So we had Germania, Carthage, Pontus and Rome. Do you think that's quite a strong combination? But they had Rome, and Macedon. So actually, do you think with the firepower that Rome bought that the other team had faction advantage? Please put your thoughts in the comments about that, because you know, with the firepower that they got, maybe they did. But the main reason I wanted to show you this battle was because I bought this 2007 Germanic army and battle formation. I kind of resurrected it in 2025, and to my amazement I thought it did really well. As I say, it might be an unusual army build because it's got no cavalry except for the cavalry general, so I would suggest it would be. And look at how many troops I had left at the end of the battle as well. So I hope you enjoyed this battle. Please put your thoughts in the comments. It's always nice to read what you think about our battles, or at least give us a thumbs up if you enjoyed it. This is Spartan Commander saying bye for now, and see you soon.